Hello, everyone. I'm Rob Smith, the Smith of the Black Channel here, Ticker Talker. And if it's Monday, it's the Strat Power Hour. We get a bunch done. We bring your questions here. It's recorded, and we do it every Monday. So if you're brand new, what you want to do is you want to go to the newsletter section. You want to subscribe to all the newsletters because that's where all the good stuff is. There are tons of videos and stuff in there, including the Power Hour, and they're all recorded. So you got, I don't know, 30, 40 hours of that in there. And also, I prefer that you ask here as opposed to emails just because it's easier for me, especially with charts, and everybody gets to hear the answer to all the questions, so it's a learning experience for everyone. If you can't make it, you can always email me the questions and I'll cover them. So we can start off with a couple email questions here, and let's take a look, see what we got. So this is from last week with Jed. I'm not sure if, I think you might have asked them live, but let me take a look. Okay. And it says SPY is pretty good at fake outs. And last Friday, I was convinced, based on the behavior of the market and the cues in the SPY, I was going to take out the month to the downside. Just didn't spot the reversal properly due to my bias and viewed it as corrective activity to look for an add to the downside later, stopping me out. Instead, it hits magnitude to the upside, and I continue to fight the trend, looking for a reversal. And okay, this is going to be a week ago, so I'm going to try and do my best here. Uh, Friday move was clear on the hourly, but the SPY today on the hourly looked like it wanted to move higher and stalled out, reversing to the lows. I could have seen myself entering on the break to the upside. Okay, unfortunately, it's a little bit outdated, but um, I'll get to that in a second here. SPY, so we'll pull up SPY. And you asked them live? Okay. So, but we can review it. It's like the thing is here, we're just stuck in all this. We could use some bigger tries. Is what I'm saying is that the futures have not really been where we've wanted to be, and I've been pretty clear about that for a while. I mean, yeah, there's guys who just do that. That's fine. Have at it. But what you've been seeing is a lot more sector rotation, and a lot of that daily, where like in a lot of the videos, I'm pulling back and saying each day these things are going back and forth in two twos and two twos and two twos, right? And so that's where we want to stay on sectors, right? Because that tells you when they're going, like simultaneous break in sectors tells you they're going across the board institutionally, right? So that gives us a higher level of probability. So that might have something to do with it. But the futures have been a chop shop. Look at this. Eesh. SPY, even though it's going from one side of the try. And because we know it did this, here's where it took the week and then came back, then gapped up, then it's 3 days sitting sideways, right? And so down in here, yeah, and then like all this mess. We was hoping for a simultaneous break on the monthlies, but we weren't getting it. We had that blowout first week in the Qs, and that was it. And sometimes that is it. Where the simultaneous break just wipes everybody out. So and the Qs when they came through here, everybody just got destroyed right here. So sometimes like right here, boom, 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 boom. That's it. Right? Everybody's gone. Anybody who's trying to hold on is just wiped, right? And so sometimes that's why you'll see a simultaneous break on a Monday, and that's it, right? That's it. It's over. It's like, oh, okay, for the week we have this down bias, and then it creeps its way back up, stuff like that, because they did everything that they wanted to do in one day sometimes. So, and yeah, and the Qs and the small cappers were nowhere near it, and the Dow was going into new highs. So you didn't have all that. That's when you see a simultaneous break in all the averages, then that gets my attention, right? And that's when you get some real haymakers. But we knew that there was strength in the market. It was very Q specific. Okay. So the next question. Is it making sense to everybody? So because we always want to um, put ourselves in the highest level of probability, and that's going to be some type of simultaneous break. Not saying that we don't trade stocks that are their own animals, but that puts higher probability in our favor. Everything's breaking in the same direction, or everything in this industry is breaking in this direction on the daily, or what have you, right? Next question. Okay. So when a gapper lists stock gaps lower, as soon as it turns green on the opening 60 month, is that an entry point? Yes. Yep. That would be an entry. That's a continuity entry. And if you're going to do that, you better have the hotkeys, right? Because that's fast. That can be real fast, right? So I'm not sure if we had anything today that gapped and reversed back to the upside that I can remember. But yes, you can do a continuity opening entry. It's not in the course yet, but you can. And not wait till it takes out the opening bar of the second hour, or would second 60-minute bar break be an add? Yes, it would, because that would be a 2-2 reversal. It would be a 2 down, then 2 up. Yes, you could add on that, definitely. And Jed got more questions for me. Okay. Okay. Palintard, huh? Okay, so Palintard. So Palintard slightly took the week last week, right? That's right. A little grindy in here. All right. Still a 2 down, but going green on the month if it's going to come all the way back, right? So to start off, okay, weekly triggers, it just didn't go very far. So if you wanted to, you could just stop yourself even. Just let it go and say, okay, we'll see. Or get out if it takes out today's low tomorrow, right? And say that's going to try and go back down on a Tuesday. Okay, uh, so you went in today. So today was right on the day. You're starting off a new week, right? So if you took this, trying to come off the lows, okay. Yeah, so now you're closer to being a 2 down on the day. So it's a Monday, right? And we had a lot of other things breaking, right? This would not be our drug of choice. Yeah. Yeah, tomorrow if it takes this out, yep, then you got green going the other way. Right now you don't have that. But with so many weeklies breaking, there's so many other things to be looking at. There's so many other weeklies that are going part of this simultaneous break crew. So you can take it, it's just got to go. And what if a stock is not part of the S&P 500, Nasdaq 100? How's it going to impact simultaneous break? It won't. But what it can do is psychologically mess with people because even if your stock's not in the S&P but everything's gone in on you, right? That's going to affect you mentally. So it doesn't have any physical aspects to it, depending on if it's in the ETFs or anything like that. But it's got a mental aspect to it. If that makes sense. Because you know how you feel like when you're long or something and the SPY's dropping, even if it's not in SPY, it just makes you a little skittish. And I did want to point out the compound three. I'll probably put this in the course, but in DraftKings, what a compound three is for new people, older folks alike. So to here, so here's your continuity entry. This is good. We can go this. Here's your continuity on DraftKings, right here. Right. Here's where it goes green on the week and 60 on the day. Right. Boom. Off she goes. Then it goes 3-2. Right. It's a bold ad, but you could. But if it comes back in, you're gone. Everything's got to go because now you're back into an old three. So then it goes 3-2 down. And once it does that, if you don't have a reversal against you, we're going to go take this out. This is what a compound three is. All of these bars, if they were one bar, would be an outside bar of this, right? You even had the inside 60 here to take it down. So that's what a compound three is. And that's what a continuity entry is. Boom. And any tips for instruments to trade strat and 401ks? Options and shorts are not available. Guessing longs and ETFs, that's short. You can do that, yeah. And watching the macro vids, they come out once a month. Being like, I want my grandpappy Ford that's a 2-2 year. So I've got a yearly signal working for me. Stuff like that, quarterly signals. So anything that's longer term, macro. And if you read, because we're coming up to the end of the quarter, and so we got a quarterly flip coming here in a few weeks. And one of the things that is important about that is what I wrote about in the New Trader U article that's in the newsletters about algorithmic activity and seeing what happens on the uncoupling of the quarter, right? Because last year when things were getting killed and then they started turning around, there was stuff that was still green on the year, right? Even though that disaster happened, your shops, your Teslas, and all that I wrote about in there. So uh, learning how to use that macro video, and that's going to be upcoming in the course as well. And what's the obsession with Palantir? Out of all the stocks I give you, Palantir. And yeah, that would change continuity. It would put it into full time frame continuity. And yes, you potentially would have this trying to come off of this, right? But we don't have a signal. You got a potential 3, right? And maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But then once it goes, just trail it and make sure it keeps going. And so, compound me. Um, Reaching the top. What should we do when we stock reaching the top of broadening formation or crossing the top of them? Just make sure it keeps going, right? And when does that occur, right? Because if you hit the top of the try and then on a Friday and then you come in Monday morning and have a 2-2 reversal day and week, now you got your top of try, right? If it happens on a Wednesday and the month and the week are still green, it might just stall out for a while. So when things occur matters because they do get bigger. Tilray was in the video. Simultaneous break in the weeds. Everybody's an inside week to the upside to start off the week. That's good. They're buying weed from everybody so far. And Hayes will post macro signals in Facebook. Thank you. And DraftKings, would you exit that as soon as the second 60 came in and went red? Wait for a 2-2 reversal. So here, if you got this, once again, here's your continuity entry, boom, goes red. Now you're going to give me an outside bar, right? Boom. And then you can just say, I'm just going to follow this hourly down. Dink, 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 yep, no 2-2 reversal against me. And then I can decide if I want to bring it in on the bell or if I got enough acreage to hold on. I'm nowhere near a monthly signal. That's not good. Not really near to a weekly signal either. If that makes sense. And Ben, small universe focusing on gappers, 30 and 60 reversals. You often call out other tickers during the session. Just ignore them? Yeah. Yep. For right now, ignore it. Unless you feel comfortable. Right? If you're doing well already in the 30, 60 gappers and you want to play with their money, I don't have a problem with that. It's just not your money. And, if you want to call an audible or two on the strat time report, I'm good with that too. Because by that time, we've pretty much figured out what's going on. Right? It's a matter of whether it continues or not. Because the SPY doing this and Q's at the close, this here was no surprise. If you go back and you watch the strat time report, it was almost everything was long, right? Everything was breaking to the upside. time frame do you choose to initially scan for strat patterns? Is there one time frame that tells you about the most information about stock for start to further analyze it further? In other words, all stocks need to be properly analyzed in all time frames, but is any single time frame enough information to make it interesting to stock to trade? Yeah. So what we're constantly doing is looking for the longer terms. Are they being reconfirmed or negated by the shorter terms? All right. Are we seeing a concentration of, and this gets back to simultaneous break, are you seeing a concentration of signals in either direction? So, like I just said today, almost everything's two up, right, on the week, right, or still inside. Not much was taken out last week's lows. That tells us you can expect a move like this, right, where this thing's going up. There's almost nothing is down on a weekly basis. Now, we had some caution because we did have some, like oils and stuff like that, in financials early on, taking out Friday's lows, right? But that was being overridden by the amount of weeklies to the upside because they were all still inside week, right? So I'm always gauging how many twos there are or failed twos going three, right? And so that's why when the Qs broke that monthly, the other ones didn't, right? Now had they started to do that, this would have had some more teeth to it, right? But they didn't do that, right? As a matter of fact, small cappers, we're going straight up, right? I'm sorry, that was here. They're nowhere near taking this out. Well, they got a little bit close to it, but they didn't do it. And the Dow was going into highs. So the concentration of the signals is that's what I'm scanning for, and that's what I'm talking about all day. And then sometimes you get a mixed bag where they're just doing nothing, like this morning, because you had those financials start to sell off and some oil start to sell off. So you had a little weakness this morning. And then once that started to firm up, the 2 weeks took over. Because there's not a lot of down months either, outside of some of the selected NASDAQ. And Rob, can you talk about WM? Went long it, took the week up, and has stopped on by hindsight. Should have followed that up with a stop on a shorter time frame. Well, just crapped out. Ran out of steam is all. So here's what had happened. You got this. You got your rev strat. Here's your lower low. And you went to magnitude here. And you did have the month, mother bar issues, but you did have the month. Then it was a matter of staying over that week. You stay over that week, then we'll talk. But you wanted to get out of here. You just got stuck in a micro try. That's all. Here. And it might still go because you got those weekly and monthly signals to go. So it might still go. Just might have ran out of steam today. Yep. SNDI or Sundial? Sundial is weed, and it's a week and upper with them. Just got a big mother bar to get out of, but it is inside week and up. So far, so good. They buy in the weeds. Okay. EXPI. Okay. So EXPI. Yeah, the hopes would you could climb this wall, all right? But you got these guys. The question is going to be strong enough to come up into this thing. That's going to be the question. Still right on the month, right? So this thing could still re-break to the downside. Right? So the question is, can you change that by using this? So as long as it's above this and you can stay up in here, you're all right. It's just got to do that. And yeah, Mr. Hayes, Ben, if you chase Rob's call out, you will not succeed. There's a lot going on. Too many signals, some are later, not. And some are when they happen, and sometimes I'm calling them out as examples and say that was a nice blah, blah, blah. Take a look at it. That's what you want to look for before it happens, right? And oftentimes, I'm just talking my way through the market, trying to figure out what's going on, right? I'm just thinking out loud. That's going highs, that's going lows. That's going highs, that's going lows. I'm thinking out loud, trying to put the parts together. And then when you see the per the vids, that means you might want to take a look at that one because I already talked about it. Now I'm talking about it again. It's what we said, what we were looking for is working. Mm-hmm. Okay. Pen on the gapper list. Even though pen gapped down, it turned back green, so there was no continuity to the downside. I went long after it turned green, so it was tricky. Yeah. Pen. Okay, so pen. Gap and sit. Oh, no, pen gapped up and then did nothing. So your continuity entry would have been here. Ooh, get something out of it. And then stuck in the mother bar rev strat, doing nothing. Saw a video with Arturo recently. He mentions participation groups. What exactly is he referring to? Are the group he is referring to individuals, institutions, or is he referring to groups in terms of time frames? Time, price, and time, right? So that's why we like to see things change or turn around in reverse. And you'll hear me say, this is where these guys go underwater. Everybody, right? And so with the Qs, that's why that break was powerful, right? Anybody who bought the Qs last month went underwater right here, right? That's your monthly participation group. Anybody last month who bought Qs, all of them go underwater right here, right? And then you look for other time frames to trigger it, right? So we're using groups against each other. They're for our benefit. So once we see that the monthly group is going underwater, we can go to the weekly group and see what's going on, right? Look out, that was a 3-2. That was a 3-2. Sorry, the break came here. This was the actual break, but we already knew about this. So here on a weekly basis, here's your weekly group right here. Everybody who bought Qs in here goes underwater in a weekly participation group. 3-2, boom, right? So that got you in to set that up, right? What's the next two what will that creator negator do? So this was the last month of February, right? So at that point, we knew the Qs were vulnerable because we're much closer to taking out those lows, right? Conversely, when we come in this week, here, we're much closer to taking out the highs of the weekly participation group, right? So anybody got short last week goes underwater right here, right? And then we can look for the amount of those breaks within the Qs itself. Right now, most of them are to the upside. And hey, is that as great if you guys started to sticking stocks that went 1-2 daily, but closed above the open on that second? I'm loving having a small universe, the same setup every day, and just waiting for 30-60. Just my experience. Good. That's a great idea because I say this a lot. I'd rather have you be just a one-trick pony because then you know how that condition acts. I'm like, I just trade my 2-2s, and I'm good with that all day long, right? And the good thing about that, when you're using continuity, good things tend to happen, right? And you might get stopped out. That's going to happen. We know that's going to happen. But when you put yourself in the right conditions and you're able to stay in longer because you know what's going on, it doesn't take too many big ones to get you going. And Ruby, right. Ruby was right straight out of the strat time report. And I said, be careful of the magnitude, but at least you got your lower low. And then boom, these become an outside bar of that because price discovery starts over in the mother bar. And and that's the truth. Okay. 3-1 setups are also nice, right? Yep. Because you get that magnitude. And them outsiders. Yeah, overstocks in the vid. It was in the weekend vid. It was tonight's vid. Your 2-2-2 day that triggers the inside to the upside. It's a little messy in here because the question is, how's it going to get out of this? See, if this was a 2-month bar, this would be a mother bar of these guys, higher highs and lower lows. Now you're kind of coming back into the apex, but you are going to have full time frame counter to the upside. That's good. So if it's going to go higher, that's the condition it would be in. It just has to stay in that condition. which changes each day. Often I'm hearing to get out when it reverses against you, and heard to add more when it reconfirms. How do we know the difference between reversing against us versus setting up a reconfirmation? The longer time frame. How long is the time frame? Right? 60 is a major signal. You'd want to know about that, especially if you're anywhere near getting stopped out. Now you can let that go. Let's say something just really blasts off for you, right? You can have a 60 counter you a little bit because we know there's going to be some triangle out up top, right? But watching the other time frames, if what does this create, negate, or do? Is this going to have any bearing on the weekly, the monthly? Can it possibly set up a reversal or not? Is it reversing on the day? Is it even close to doing that? If not, then you can let them triangulate out and look for more. You can also, you don't have to get out of everything, right? If you still have those long signals, but you got a 60 against you, you don't got to everything. You can sell part of it. Buy yourself some more room. And then when it reconfirms, you can add with more. And some people will just take it and say, hit my magnitude, I'm out. I'm good. Speaking of stuff, where do you like stops? If you're entering off a 15 signal, say like 212, continuation or 212 reversal or a 22 reversal, 22 reversal should just work. That's just the instantaneous bitch slap. That should just work, right? So you can keep a tight stop on that because that should just work. Because if it doesn't, it can be it can just be stopping a few guys out and then go three back up, right up, right? Like, because a lot of people will be seeing that level depending on what time frame it is. I mean, like that's the low. So either the porch falls apart, or they dip their toes and stop them out and then go blasting three to the highs. So you want to keep that tight. I'd like to keep them all tight, but one thing that I'm good with, depending on level of expertise, is we know the two's going to go, and then sometimes they'll come back in the range and re-break, right? Now I'm more in the school of getting out and getting back in. However, so long as it doesn't cross 50% of that two, it's the probability it's going to break to the upside. 51%, now you got a higher probability of going three, right? So you might want to consider that depending on the size of the bar. Yeah, and here's a lot of options traders will take their money on a gamma spike into magnitude, so the theta doesn't take it away. 212s, center of the one. And then you got to know once that two gets magnitude, right? Then you want to make sure you're protecting up in there too. Sometimes there's not a lot of magnitude on 212 continuation, right? Let me get a glass of water here real quick. Keep typing though. Okay, sorry about that. My voice getting a little parched. Well, thanks, Mr. Hayes, for your help as always. Hopefully, not sure if everybody has scanners, and usually you don't need it because that's what I'm doing for you. But at the end of the strat time report today, I kind of went through some scanning techniques, and all that'll be in the courses too. EXPR. And EXPR, you got mother bar problem. How are you going to get outside of this thing, right? So your hopes is you can break the month and get a little bit more, and then you'd want to stay above this, right? Because you got your inside week. That's good. Now I'd be concerned about this guy here. The good thing is these guys took out this guy to the downside. That's good, right? They already triangled some guys out. So once I can get above this thing, these guys, then I'd want to stay up there. Because you got mother bar issue risk. They're also it's still inside weak right now. RKT. Yep, mother bar issue. Ooh, boy, look at these boys. You want to get chopped up? Here you go. Here you go. Ask these guys how they're doing. Look at this 60. Look at this. Not for moi. SJI. And the daily was not a 3. The daily, that's not a 3. 212. Ah, compound 3. Compound me. I gotcha. 212 trying to get up into there. That's okay, fair enough. Is directional. Been higher though in the month. Still opens as an inside week. 22260. So, well, we're on. It's a it's a Monday, so they were busy doing some other things. So we'll see. Just a little bit of shoppage on the 60, and this is where sometimes they chop you up all day, and then boom, that last entry was the one you wanted right there. The 222 on the 60. So the 30, a little tricky. That would 2 went 3. And then boom, that was your 60 right there. 312 30, 30, 30, 30. Inside 30 to the upside. That's directional. That's got to go. It's under courses is where the course is. Course is. Space. That's 2 up. Took out the previous high. Just didn't go anywhere and went red on the continuity. So, question is compound 3, come back through, take all these guys out, or keep trying to climb the wall lower and get into the inside week and up. You're still right now 2 month to the downside, but you're coming back like a lot of things. XPEV. It does. Yep. Yes, it does. How are you going to get outside of this thing? So the good thing is, you got this, you got your inside and down, you took these guys out, you're coming back here. So then this could be the broadening formation, which would be a nice move, even if it didn't make that next month. Trying to go weaken up or trying to take care of these guys, but okay. AVGO. AVGO. So yeah, a little choppy in there. And Monthly was the slight problem, but you got back into that, and you do have the weekly 3-2, right? Continuity entry would have been fast and nice right here. Inside 30 here. Momo hammer 30. 2-2 that didn't work. 60. The 2-2-2 right there. Get came in a little bit on you, but yeah, a little grindy. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Apple. Okay. Here's the problem with Apple. Doji in the month. This thing's doing nothing, right? Maybe it goes, maybe it doesn't. But we like nice long red and green bars. By the 15th, I want things that are cruising. So maybe you get this, the 2-2 weaker with the simultaneous Q stuff. Yep. Here you go. Rev Strat 60, inside 60 up. Um, this is an actual hammer because it took out the lows. Momo hammer is an inside or a 2 up. 2 down is a regular hammer because it's going to be a 2-2 reversal if it takes that. So you can take the 60 because if it does work, the magnitude on this 2-2 day would be to take that out, which would be the week. So once if you have magnitude that would do what we're looking for it to do, you can take the signal that has the magnitude to do it. This thought process, the directional and continuation move. Thought process, that directional and continuation move. Get out. Well, we prefer to add to open on a reversal and then add on continuations. Now there'll be times when, like I said, simultaneous break. Like if everything's going, and you can take those. And some people, are just good at that. It's in there. This course material is in there. You either have to buy it or you have to be an annual to go in there though. Not my rule, but that's the rule. And does that make sense on the Apple? So if this baby works, we're going up here because we know that this would be that. Get boy. The problem here is the month, but because of the cues and all that kind of stuff that could be taking this stuff out, that might give you a boost. Yeah. Then just stick with your wheelhouse and say, look, I just trade my 2-2s. Okay, Riot blockchain. Well, with Bitcoin, it could be a little volatile. It could be a little volatile. All right. So, still inside month, but bright green. That's good. Well, where did you go? Okay. And last week you had the 2-2 reversal. Now this week just opens up and goes right. So what's this? I'd want to stay up here because it doesn't have that much. You see this? It would be fairly simple to take that out and go 2-2 reversal on a Tuesday, which would turn the week, day, and 60 red. And W, like I said, still good so far as we know. It just hit the short-term magnitude. Now we want to make sure it doesn't come 3 and back doing this kind of thing in here. But it doesn't have to take up much to have that weekly and that monthly going for you. And one of the things, and we go to, and Macy's still good for the month. Yeah, Macy's, Macy good. Macy good. Tough time turning that one around because it's either got to gap up and try and go three, go inside day and then down, or really get annihilated and take this thing out, which is it's not that it can't happen. So another thing that I'm noticing here is that it's very important. Is like, and like, I mentioned this tweeting over the weekend that a lot of people come in on a Monday morning all gung ho with all the research and I want to do this and these are going to break and that's why you'll hear me on a Monday say, kick it, slow it down. Whoa, slow it down. If something's really going to move, like make a big move, there's more than enough entries, right? Most people are trained to be like, I got to get the exact spot for right when it goes. But we know we don't have to do that because anything that's going to be a long or red-green bar is going to have a bunch of entries. And like AVGO, maybe it's grindy, maybe it's not, but that's what we look for. That tells us aggressive buyers and aggressive sellers. Those guys who don't care about price. They need stock. Those are our friends. Where are you trying to buy it? I'm like, I'm just trying to buy it. What? I'm just trying to buy it. I've got 250,000 shares to buy. Then I need to deliver. That's the direct order. Not try and buy some at 20, buy some at 2050. It's just buy. That's when you see those are really, really aggressive algos. They don't care. They need stock. So that's why we do this on Monday. And that's why the Strat Attack is on Tuesdays. So I can pick up, if you're going to go up for 5 days in a row, you got to go up two first, right? So that's how I pick up on the guys. So as far as we know, buyers showed up today, right? Because of all the twos on the week. Question is, do they come back, right? Into more twos trigger, which would give us a higher probability. Because there's plenty of twos left. That's the good part about it. They're still inside weakers. Heck, I mean, look at your inside day list. Roku, Twilio, Netflix, Okta, Snappy, CRM. There's some pretty big names in there that open as an inside day. Do they spoil the party or do they join in? AMC, a little grindy for you. Yep, a little grindy up in there. Continuity entry was the winner. Grindy Grinderson. And that's going to happen when the market keeps going up into exhaustion risk and stuff. You get a lot of stuff doing that. That's why we don't like that. And we've been in exhaustion risk forever. So here's the difference. Look, so we had that 3-monther, right? That's fun. Then you 3-1er, 3-1-2. Here, that was November. We've been in exhaustion risk ever since, right? Because you can see the fun we had with the Q-stairs, right? Boom. Much more fun. Because we got a lot of boring monthly signals going on. That's a problem for trading. Then the question is, how does this Q's close out here? Because they've been chopping them up, but good on the monthly. Look at the monthly, the distance of the monthly and the open close. This is nothing. Look at this. Back in. Try the out and try the out. Opening price is universal truth. Okay, because as far as continuity levels, opening prices of everything, that gives us a benchmark of what the buyers and sellers are doing, right? So if we open on the day, right, and we're above that opening, people say red to green trade when it goes net. No, it's green as soon as it starts upticking, right? Because the sellers might have just been on the opening. Here, sell me 50,000 on the opening, right? And they're done, right? They're gone. That was it. I just had to dump 50,000 on the opening. I'm gone. As far as I know, you're gone. So as soon as it's above that, that means that the sellers are getting their price. The buyers are taking the offer. That's what they're doing, right? So when we combine all the separate openings, that tells us that the buyers are all aggressive across all time frames, right? By four participation groups by price and time, right? So tomorrow, the second hour of any week, depending on when the monthly opening is, we now have four separate participation groups. Monthly, weekly, daily, and 60 are all different, right? So when those all line up, and we know in my article I wrote about algorithmic activity, we know at that point that a lot of trading is now algorithmic, 70% or more. So the computers have to tell them, they have to tell the program what to do. And so when you have those conditions, that tells me that they told them whatever it is, SPY. They told them to buy it. You have to tell them how to buy it. You can take the offer, stay in the bid. That tells me they told them to take the offer. And then when do you want them to do it? And when it lines up on all time frames, they told them to do it right now, right? So we've got that advantage. We know that that's going on. Also, that's why when we have the triangles and the broadening formations coming back through or 2-2 reversals, we also know we're going to be stopping people out because we know what they've been told. Stop against old pivots, whatever, some pivot support or resistance, whatever they want to believe. So when they get triggered, they remove liquidity. So programs trying to buy, they're having a tough time doing it because stops are running the price and removing the liquidity. So that's why when more often than not, you can have faster moves coming back through previous ranges, right? And that's why we look for that. You see that GameStop move today in the Rev Strat. Ooh boy. Rev Strat Monday. Just boom. Look at this. Rev Strat occurred here below 230, 260, right? Boom. And it was already puking. 232. Oh, that can't be right. What's this about? I'm sorry. 262.27. Here. right here. See what happened? Boom. Bottom dropped out. And then it went inside, mother bar problem 60 down. Boom. With the Rev Strat already in force. Right there. And that was below here. 241.26. Well, not a 220. The porch fell apart. And that's why when things occur really matters. Because that's when the grillers got fried up last month, right on the new month. See? Right here. New month, new week, fried. Everything's now going the other way. Party time, puke time. Right? So they're started to have a good month, and they even took that out. Then they exhausted because your mother bar issue here, right? How are you going to get outside of this thing? So the question now, after that 2-2 reversal down in here, make the lower low. Then you made the higher high. What kind of try are you going to have out of this thing? I want to know. So the weekly participation group goes underwater here. And this is also an inside bar, which would make that a Rev Strat as well, if it's all over again. That's why you'll hear me say these guys will trigger these guys here, here, and here, right? This is where these guys cause these guys to go underwater, and this is where these guys cause these guys to go underwater. That's why the better you get, you can use a 5-minute participation group to knock the whole house of cards down. You're like, it's only a fiver. Yeah, if I triangle it out, and if this works, the bottom of this magnitude is that. And that's below that, which puts them underwater. And if that works, that magnitude is that. And if it hits that, these guys go underwater. Right? That's the name of the game. Stick it to them. Stick it to them, because people in losing positions have to do something. Right? If you're in a losing position, there's a few things you can do. Right? You can just get out, which is probably the best thing to do. You could add to it, which is bad, or you could ignore it. And that is the guys who blow it out on bottom of tries and stuff. I'll just wait for it to come back. You ever done that where you just ignore your loser and then you ended up blowing it out almost on the butt low? Almost on the butt low when you just said, yeah, I need this off the sheets. Yeah, or you can just buy the course. Because that was one humdinger of a deal, that half price. Because this course is going to be perpetual. I'm going to continue to make it. It's not going to end. Right. Because part of the trading the strat is understanding why this would work. Outside of other things, or here's my idea, blah blah blah. This is why that would work. These guys are going underwater. Futu. Futu, inside day, 3-1 to start the week off. You got some other bar issues on the monthly. How are you going to get out of here? Right? Weekly was inside week. Didn't join the party to the upside, though. Started to back off. So tomorrow, you're closer to going 3-1-2 down back into this stuff, which would put you into full time frame counter to the downside, albeit still inside on the week and month. Earnings, just let the earnings come out. Newsletters, yeah, there's a ton in there. The newsletters is a course. It's like part of the course is explaining, going through the newsletters. I'm like, look, like, everything I say is course. That's why we record it all, and that's why it's important to go back at the end of the day, watch that strat time report, see what happened at the end of the day for the rest of the day. Watch the nightly vid again. Yeah, tons of power hours. And we have this every Monday, so you can bounce it off. Say, what are you missing? So another thing I'm seeing is people talking about stocks I didn't talk about. Might want to not do that. I talk about a lot of stocks. And if you're already successful and doing well, do whatever you want. It's my job to get everybody successful. Because then you can be a total ninja animal and you can do whatever you want. You can branch out forever. And for me, the vid was a little long, only like 5 minutes today, which is a real benefit for us that we can communicate that quickly. And well, a good thing, Jay, is on the. And I think you have an email with me. So forgive me on my emails. My email server was down all weekend, so I'm just way backed. It was bad. So so run. So run RevStrat on a Tuesday is good, because then boom, you go back red on the week after triangle the out, and hopefully you can take these guys out. Might not get any market help though, but we'll see. That's why we play the game, because it's still red on the month, so it would have full time frame counter to the downside if it takes it out, depending on how it takes it out. You got your micro 60 outsider, boom. Another thing I tweeted out over the weekend is that another thing that people do, they come in all gung ho with their favorite picks or whatever. When we come in, we got a plan. If the market's going up, the market's going sideways, the market's going down. 3 plans, right? Now, if we start going down today, there were some good two day downs. There was that energy and financials to start off, but nowhere near taking the weeks out. Right. That's why we pretty much had a bias to the upside because of that. Doesn't mean we couldn't go down. We just were we had much more months taking out highs than lows, and we had much more weeks closer to taking out the highs. Kill it till it's dead. There you go. Lulu, still inside weak, so that would need to break. You got your 2-2 up, just didn't hit the magnitude up of this just yet. Might still do that, and that would take the week. That would take your month back green after triangle day out here. And retail was strong, so yeah, when things happen matters because how close are you to time exhaustion? How close are you to the next two? Right? So, if let's say that something blasts off on a Monday, continues on a Tuesday, goes up a little bit, on Wednesday, and then goes 2-2 down on a Thursday, it's probably just profit taking. These guys have been buying this thing all week, so far as we know, right? And you're nowhere near taking out the weekly low, right? Then, when we start at the beginning of the month, what are we closer to doing? Right? What are these months closer to doing? Are they closer to two and up? Are they closer to two and down? We got a ton of inside months. What do we have? And so every week, the weekly is going to reconfirm the last week, right? What we knew to be true. What we knew to be true about last week, a lot of inside weeks close to taking out the highs, right? And we also, Tuesday, we gain more information, right? Monday, we'll see. Like today, Tuesday upside, we had those daily twos trying to come in, right? And but Tuesday we reconfirm what we know about Monday. Is that break real? And if that's real, they're going to keep going, and there's going to be other things that break to reconfirm it. Also, the flip, minding that flip, right? Especially if things are going back and forth and back and forth. New 60. Are they still here? And that's when we see they continue, and we go, it's still here, still good. These guys are still good, still buying. Twizzlers. Well, Twizzlers, this month is a little bit of an issue, right? You did have your rev strat to start off the week if it was going to go. Just didn't. Couldn't get out of this. Took out the one, but we don't know about these wicks in here for the weakers. That's a little bit of a problem with the Tesla. But you don't have a monthly signal. But you could be 2-2 to the upside on the weekly, depending on what this mess is. That's a problem. And Tesla's just Teslers. Maybe you can call it EV all you want, but that's why right at the shoot we're kind of looking for the simultaneous breaks. What are they doing? Buying airlines, selling. For a while they were selling railroads, and financials, and oils, right? So simultaneous breaks happen all the time, right? It's a matter of which ones they are. A 30-minute, daily, monthly, 5-minute, and then every flip I'm lining up to see what the most likely is. Where's the concentration of signals? That's why you'll hear me say like 60's the flavor, which means we got a bunch of inside 60's to break. 30's the flavor, ton of inside 30's. And then looking for whatever the concentration of that is. Can you dig it? Okay. Well, coming up on an hour here. And I got to drive home in snow and stuff here. So we do this every Monday. Welcome new people. Good questions, I think. And I'm going to go home. I'm tired. All right, so I'll load this in right away so you have it. So everybody have a nice evening, and we'll see you bright and early. All right.